Hello, folks, and welcome to the latest instalment of the Rangers Women's Sports Group podcast. I'm Car, and today I'm joined by Demi. How are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
All right. No one's available, everyone's busy, so it's us two tonight, so we'll see how we get on with this. We've got the Old Firm game on Thursday to talk about, and then the Motherwell game, so it'll be a quick run through of what happened. Demi's not seen much of the Celtic game because you're at Ibrox, because fixture clashing is ridiculous, but there we go. Team on Thursday was Vic, Leah Eddy, Kathy Hill, and Nick Dock. In front of them was Brogan Hay, Tess Medag, Olivia McLaughlin, and Lizzie Arnott. And then I think it was a front three of Wilco, Kirsty, Howitt, and Rio. But I don't know. Sky Sports has it as Kirsty in behind, but that's how it normally goes. Subs were Ailey Austin, Mia McCauley, Megan Bell, Charlie Devlin, Camilla Fay, Jane Ross, Laura Rafferty, Jodie McCleary, and Jenna Fife. We started pretty quick, which is nice because we don't normally do that. 4 minutes in, Kirsty Howitt gets a goal. Beautiful goal. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Good goal. Came from a corner, I believe, and Wilco kind of flicks it on to her and she just smashes it into the back of the net. Can't ask for much more.
No?
Good.
I think the biggest shock starting of that game, to be fair, was that Mia McCauley was on the bench in the first place. I think that's ridiculous, but
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I don't know. It makes it. Lizzie's been pretty good. Brogan's been pretty good, so you could argue for any of them, but you'd always start Mia, I think, because she's got more pace. She's got their number from the games that she played against them, so it's a bit of a weird choice, but we go with what Joe wants, so we can't make the decisions. After that Test scored, it was disallowed for offside. Don't really think it was offside, to be honest. I think the line was had a bit of a shocker, but there's no surprise there because that's every game in the SWPL. Is the line on refs are having a shocking game. And then not much else happened in the first half, to be honest. We just kept going at them. Midfield was pretty good. We overran them a lot of the time and we're doing pretty well on the wings and that. And it was a pretty good first half. Felt like we were easy breezy at that point. What happened? Second half. Well, it's pretty late on into the second half, actually. It was 63 minutes. We get a penalty. It's a handball from them. You could argue it's outside the box, but it was given as a penalty, so you can't be too mad about that. But it's 100% a handball. It's 100% a penalty if it's in the box, but it's on the line. So, and then Wilco steps up and does what Wilco does.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, 68 minutes, so not long after that, they got a penalty, which, I don't know, I think it's a penalty. Everybody else is saying it wasn't a penalty, but I don't know, she goes down in the box, she's made contact. I'd say it's probably a penalty, but yet again, we've let them back into the game instead of doing what we should have done. We were all over the top of them. We should have scored a couple more just to make it a bit easier, but we decided not to and let them back into the game. So they scored from the penalty. Don't know who scored it. Don't really care, to be honest. It's them, so I'm not really too bothered about that. And then made some subs on the 71st minute. Rio came off for Charlie Devlin, which bit of an odd choice for me, but again, Jo does what she does. But I thought maybe Megan Bell, seeing as she's back and fit, would be a good choice, or Jodie McCleary maybe would have been a better choice. But she brought Devlin on probably for her physicality because she's quite good that way, but didn't really offer us too much. Not ideal, but it's what it is. And then on the 77th minute, Mia came on for Brogan, which I think makes sense. It's a good sub. And then Mia absolutely terrorised them when she came on, but she hadn't been on. Oh, on you go.
I said as she tends to do against them.
Absolutely. She was on for about 3 minutes, and Colette Kavanagh, formerly of our parish, went through the back of her and for some reason didn't get a yellow card, even though she was already on a yellow card, and the ref gave a drop ball to them. Make that make sense.
Yeah, that was a bit of a bizarre one. I watched that bit of the game with Dad out inside the in the club deck, and that was very bizarre when because he kind of stopped the ball and we're like, what's going on? Like, because he gave them a free kick. Like, why has he picked up the ball? What's going on? Yeah, I don't know how she wasn't sent off for that. Like, but we know what refs are like against us. So I think, and going back to the penalty, it's one of if it's given against you, you're not very happy. If it's given in your benefit, you'll take it. So I don't think there's too many complaints on the penalty.
No. I did find it funny that at that point, both our fans and their fans were shouting cheat at the ref, which I did enjoy because all of us thought that he was biased towards the other one, which is just the typical way that it goes. But if she hadn't been on a yellow already, she would have got a yellow for it. So I think it's just that way that he was too scared to give another yellow card and send her off. But it should have been. And then we decide on the 85th minute, Wilco takes the ball up into the corner for some bizarre reason and faffs about, which I don't understand because at that point there was still 10 minutes left, 5 minutes regulation, 5 minutes added on because of injuries and stuff. And then they equalise. It's shocking defending. Like, I love Nick to bits, but she needs to be doing better there. And that, I love her, don't get me wrong, but she needs to be doing a little bit better there to stop that ball going. She dives after it's in the back of the net, which is just not good enough, but it is what it is. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Nick's actually got to be facing the ball, like she was kind of facing away from it. But as soon as I seen they were making a sub and bringing on, I believe it was their number 2 that scored, Barclays or whoever it
Oh,
was. But as soon as she came on, I said to Dad, she's going to score. She always seems to score against us. And as soon as she came on, I literally turned to Dad and went, she's going to score.
It's just crazy, isn't it? Because it happens every time we play them. We've not beaten them at Broadwood, which is a crazy stat with how many times we played them there, but we just can't seem to get that off our back for some reason. And every time we look the better team, we're absolutely dominant, we're all over the top of them, and we let them back into it. And I mean, it's 86 minutes. At that point, we should just be seeing the game out, keeping it tight, and we just lose our heads. We got sucked into their game of stupid tackles. I mean, saying Brogan came off, but she was on a yellow card, and about 2 minutes before she got the yellow card, she made the same tackle. So we're getting sucked into their stupid game, but which is what always happens. And at that point, composure goes, concentration goes, and we let them back into it. So it ends a draw, unfortunately, but we were still top of the table at that point because they'd already dropped points. Should have been a win. We should have absolutely sorted that game at 2-0. Should have not happened, but it is what it is, and we just move on. So yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? We just can't seem to get over it.
Yeah, I mean, the point was, I feel like for us, getting 1 point isn't as bad as them only getting 1 point because we are still top of the league by, I believe, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas they're still behind. Like, it's frustrating for us because we were 2 ahead and then we lost it, but we now have to bank on the fact that they're going into 3-game weeks consistently, and we're not. So we have to bank, hopefully, on then dropping some more points and us getting back up to actually scoring more than 2 or 3 goals in a game.
I mean, that would be nice. It would be fantastic if we could do that. And we hope that would be the case when we went into Sunday to play Motherwell, and again, not to be. But I mean, I don't know if you have a player of the match. You didn't see much of the match, but for me, it was either Liv or Wilco. When instead of fanning about with the ball in the corner, but she was doing really well. Technically, she kept the ball. There was 3 of them around her, and she kept the ball. But I think Liv's probably going to be player of the match every game that she plays for the rest of the season. So we'll probably just give it to her. I think she might have actually got the player of the match from that game on our poll, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And then we went into Sunday against Motherwell at home, and no fixture clash, which was quite nice. Plenty of time between the games, as many people were raging about the fact that the men's game got changed to 8 o'clock on a Sunday, which isn't ideal, but great if you want to see both teams. We went in Fife in goal, which I don't know if that's just going to be the case that she's going to rotate them again. I don't know, but I thought Fife was maybe going to be the cup keeper because she played the cup game, but she seems to be rotating again, so we'll see how that plays out. And then we had Leah Eddy, Kathy Hill, and Nick Dock. In front of them, we had Ailey Austin on the wing, which was quite nice to see. It's always good when Ailey gets some game time. Tessel Middag, Livy McLaughlin, Mia Macaulay. So Mia's back in from the start, which is good. Charlie Devlin was in front of them, and then Rio and Wilco were up front. Any thoughts on the team?
No, that wasn't too surprising, to be honest. I mean, I was a bit shocked that Jenna came back in, but we can't predict what goalkeeper she's playing when at the minute. I don't know whether she's switching them, if she wants them to, like, she wants to sort of keep them happy, give them both game time. I really don't know, but it's not helping with our back line when they're playing with a different keeper every week. But not our decision at the end of the day.
No, but We started off. I'm not going to say terribly. We didn't start well. I mean, it took us to the 57th minute of the game to score. So you can imagine not much happened in the first half. It was we were creating things, we were creating chances, and then we had a goal chopped off for offside, which was offside. Initially, we said it's not offside, but Ailey's basically in the back of the net, and the ball goes off of her and goes in. So I've just written rubbish first half, couldn't break them down. That's my analysis from the first half of that game. Do you have any better thoughts on that?
Not really much, to be honest. They were breaking the play up because they just all kept falling over. A Rangers player even looked at them and they're rolling on the ground like they've just been shot. But other than that, that's pretty much all that happened in the first half. Was Motherwell players were falling to the ground and getting free kicks.
Yeah, and then they were kicking us and we weren't getting anything, but that's standard. It's just the way that it goes. The lino was getting a lot of, I don't want to say abuse, but basically abuse from everyone on our side anyway, because it was just horrendous. But as we go in at half time and we make 2 subs, Ailey Austin goes off, which I think is fair because she'd gone down with a head knock just before half time. Her and, I don't know who it was, one of the Motherwell players clashed heads. So I think that's makes sense just in case there's anything there. And Rio went off and Kirsty Howitt and Lizzie Arnott came on. Any thoughts on that?
No, I did think we were going to see Lizzie at some point, just sort of like you said, she's been playing well, rest her well. Well, I say rest her in a game where we don't need her, but evidently we did need her. But rest her in a game where we think we don't need her, and then bring her on. Same with Kirsty. I think she plays better when she comes off the bench, but
I'd agree with that, to be honest. Kirsty used to be the one that she would start the games and she'd be scoring and doing things, but I think it's just the position where she's been playing so deep, she's not really getting the opportunities, whereas coming on like up front, she created a lot of things when she did come on, so I think it makes sense. And Lizzie just is having a great season so far, so it makes sense to bring her on. And we learned after the game that Brogan was carrying a slight knock, but nothing too serious. She'll be fine for the weekend coming. But that makes sense because we were wondering why she didn't bring Brogan on at any point, but that makes sense. And then on the 57th minute, Wilco does what Wilco does and scores. She's only not scored in one game that she's played for us this season in the SWP. I won't talk about the other games. And it's a great goal. Well, Mia does incredibly well to keep the ball in because I think it's right towards us, so we were convinced it was going out. We didn't understand how she'd managed to keep the ball in, but great work to then play it into the path of Wilco in front of the goal, who just has to hit it and it goes in the back of the net.
Yeah, you give Wilco a shot on goal, so it's very unlikely to miss it. I think that's why as well with Mia, it's good to have her on the wing because every time I see her, she gets quicker and quicker. So you just don't think she's going to catch these balls, and you're like, well, why are you playing that pass? But every time near enough, she catches them.
Yeah, it's just what she offers us, and I know other teams hate to see when she's on the pitch or when she comes onto the pitch because she just terrorizes any player that is coming up against her. It's just incredible. The fact that she's so young is just unreal. Like, she's going to be some player. She already is, but she's going to be absolutely incredible if she can keep her fitness up. And, you know, a few seasons at us, win everything, and then I'm sure someday from England or abroad will come in for her and she'll have a great season. We made some subs after that. Megan Bell came on for Charlie Devlin at the 69th minute. And then we thought Liv was going off. Well, I think all of these subs we thought Liv was going off and Liv was getting ready to come off, and it wasn't Liv that was coming off to bless her. She was blowing a bit at this point. She looked a bit knackered. She wanted to come off, and it was Megan that came on, which we're always happy to see when Megan comes on. And then Jodie came on for Tess on the 73rd minute. Again, thought Liv was going off. Wasn't. Tess's number went up and we're all a bit confused thinking, how's Liv seeing out this game? It's a bit crazy, but I think you thought the same thing too, didn't you?
I think Liv thought the same thing as all of us. Every time that board went up, she looked over to Jo, and you could see the disappointment in her face when it wasn't her number on that board.
Yeah. We need to be a bit careful with that though, because obviously like NA's out injured, Chelsea's out injured. We can't run Liv into the ground, especially when you've got the likes of Jodie, you've got the likes of Megan, you've got Camille Le Fay that we brought in, who's an excellent player. and for some reason we're keeping Liv on. And to her credit, she ran the length of the pitch near enough at full time, and she looked exhausted, but she's still doing it. But we need to be really careful with that. So game management there needs to be a bit better from Jo. Again, it's Jo, we can't really question her too much, but there's some things that I'm looking at and thinking that's a bit worrying that she's the subs and things like that's getting a bit concerning for me. I don't know if other people think that, but that's just me.
No, I agree. And I mean, I get why we started Liv, because she's an absolute tank in the middle. Okay, we were only 1-0 up when we started to make subs, and then 2-0 up when we made other subs. But I just think Motherwell hadn't had a shot on target the whole game. I don't think Jenna Fife actually had anything to do. There was no danger of them scoring. Liv should have gone off. Like, there was no... I could get it if we were playing, I don't know, your Celtics or your Glasgow City, and we're 1-0 up with 5 minutes to go, and it's very end-to-end stuff. But, like, they're not even getting into their own half, let alone their own box. Like, we should have taken Liv off, but we're going to have to be careful because she gets injured and, well, we don't really have much option in there.
Yeah, especially when she's already had a bit of a knock earlier in the season. She was out for, I think it was 2 games that she was out for. So we need to be a bit cautious with that, especially when you've got the likes of Camille Lefay there. Obviously, Meg is just back from injury, so you're not expecting her to play full games. Jodie absolutely could, but maybe it's preferable a bit further forward. But Camille Lefay absolutely could probably, I believe she could play 90 minutes and absolutely boss it, especially like some Motherwell. So I don't understand why we've decided to, especially when Glasgow City is coming up, this weekend. It's a bizarre choice for me, but it is what it is. We can't go back on that. And Liv, to her credit, kept going and did quite well throughout the rest of the game. So it's just a wee shame. She looked exhausted. Anyway, the 72nd minute, Lizzie. I mean, it goes down as an own goal, but it is an own goal. It goes down as a Lizzie goal, but it's 100% an own goal. It's a Chelsea Watson goal. Your dad will be buzzing about that because that's his favourite player, it seems like. But Lizzie cuts in from the left, shoots, the ball deflects off Chelsea Watson, goes into the back of the net. It was 2-0.
Yeah, in true Demi style, I go to the toilet and Rangers score. So
I didn't realise you hadn't seen it.
Yes, I have seen it back. I just didn't see it live. So I think next time we're struggling to win a game, I might just go to the toilet because every time I go to the toilet, Rangers score a goal.
I mean, it's the same with Alan. Every time he goes to the toilet, we score. So maybe at some points we need to just tell yous to away you go to the toilet for a minute so we can score a goal. But I mean, it's a really well worked goal from Lizzie. She does absolutely everything she needs to. She cuts inside and you put the ball into the box and these things can happen. It comes off a defender and goes in. Not much happened after that other than Laura Rafferty came on for Nick. Bit of a weird one, but maybe Nick's needing a bit of a rest with, games coming up. It's good to see Laura Rafferty come on, and then she gave the armband to Kathy, which you found a bit bizarre. I thought maybe Liv was going to get it, didn't you?
Well, I didn't. I hadn't realised that when Nick didn't play a few weeks ago and Liv was captain, I hadn't realised that Kathy also didn't play that game. So I thought that they had changed vice captain, and I was like, wait a minute, are we just chopping and changing every week? And Dad was like, no, Kathy didn't play that game either. So it makes sense for it to be Kathy because she was the previous captain. I was just a bit confused.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think it's probably good that Nick got a bit of a rest because we're going to need her. She's looking a bit... I mean, I was going to say slow. She's not looking slow. She just doesn't seem to be fully herself. And I don't know whether that's the tactics as Joe's given her that, she's getting forward, but she's being told to basically don't take any shots because if they don't go in, she's going to get a bollocking from Joe, which isn't ideal because she's always scored a couple of goals this season and they're always peaches. So maybe she's just saving it for Ibrox this week, and we'll see how we get on. But I mean, for me, player of the match was Liv. I don't think anyone else is going to think. But you could give it to Leah Eddy. I thought she was exceptional all game. Wilco. I mean, Lizzie, Mia. You could probably give it to anyone, but for me, it's Liv.
Yeah, I think as soon as you see Liv's name on the team sheet, she's your man of the match before the ball's even been kicked. Most weeks, to be fair. But yeah, no complaints for that one.
Yeah. I'm just going to quickly run through the loan report because this is what we do every week, and then we can have a wee chat about City coming up if you want. Livingston was 2-0. They're playing St Johnstone. Mia MacArthur and Summer Laird played full 90 minutes, which is nice when our lone players get full games. It's nice to see. Hamilton, can't remember who they were playing, to be honest. I really should be better at this by now, but I just write down who played and what. But Sophie Townsley and Kirsten Love started. Abby Tobin was on the bench. I don't know if she played, to be honest, because Hamilton's Twitter updates aren't great, so I don't know about that. But Kirsten Love scored, which is quite nice. So it was nice when our loanees get a goal. Karen Maddie Maxwell didn't play. She was on the bench, but she didn't come on. I don't know what their score was or who they were playing. I'm awful at this. Spartans, Casey McKenna started. I believe they won. I can't remember. I don't know who they were playing, but they won anyway. And Motherwell, obviously, Laura Berry, Mason Clark, and Sophie Black couldn't play. I believe Sophie Black's away anyway with the under-17s because they're playing at Broadwood this week in their international fixtures, so she couldn't play anyway. But Laura Berry and Mason Clark obviously couldn't play because they're our players. Although I don't know who it was, someone around us thought that Mason Clark had gone to Motherwell, like not just on loan, had actually like signed for them, so they were confused why she couldn't play. But no, she's still our player and she's just away on loan. But Laura Berry was warming up. I did notice her warming up with the Motherwell players and was a bit confused thinking she was gonna play, but obviously she can't. So that was that. And then
you've got to assume that's just to keep like fitness up. Like you don't want her to miss a weekend of sort of game related training, I suppose. So just bring her along, make sure she's still getting some form of football.
Yeah, I just assumed Mason was there too. I didn't see her. I just noticed Laura Berry and it caught my eye. But I'm assuming Mason was the same, just so they can get their running and get their fitness in. That's what it is. We move on to Saturday, where we're back at Ibrox, which is quite nice. It seems a bit of a quick turnaround for the club to get things organised right enough, with only having 2 weeks' notice, with Glasgow City not having their floodlights sorted. So the fixture's been reversed. It should have been at Petershill. It's been reversed to Ibrox now, which is quite nice that we're back against City. So it's definitely going to be an interesting game. How do you think it's going to go?
I think we'll beat them. I don't think it'll be too much. I don't think we'll win by that many goals based on previous performances. But I don't think it'll be too much of a challenge. City don't appear to be very much this season. They're just kind of there. They're not really challenging as much as they have been in previous seasons. So I feel like with the right team selection, we'll score 2 or 3.
Yeah, especially with the big pitch. I think that does benefit us because we play with width. So I think it will help us with Mia, Brogan, Lizzie, whoever you want to put out on the wing. I think it will benefit us. Just put balls into the box. I'm sure Wilco will be the one that's starting up front, probably alongside Rio or Kirsty. So put balls into the box, we'll score a few. It's one of those games that it's City, so you never know because we have struggled even when they haven't been at their best, and they really haven't started this season well. You know, they're in, I believe they're in second place now, but only because Celtic haven't played their game because they've got the Champions League games. But so we have to go in, we have to win this game just to keep us at the top of the table. A draw probably be fine, but we need to be winning that game and we need to lay a marker down. It's at Ibrox, so hopefully a good crowd, with it being the men's international break, so hopefully a good few people get along. The club are really pushing it, which is nice, they always do. And I do enjoy that they've not discounted the tickets for my Gers members, because they've done this before and I think people just buy them to get the points and don't turn up. So hopefully the fact that people are having to pay, I mean, it's £7, it's not a fortune, but it's full price for a women's game, so maybe people will make the decision to actually show up. So hopefully we get a good crowd in, good atmosphere if we can, and go and win that game with a few goals and set us off. I can't remember who we're playing after that. We've got games coming up left and right all over the place, but we've got a good few games coming up anyway.
Do we not play Hibs the week after that on the Sunday? Right
We
after,
do
like an hour after the men's first team game finishes. Shock.
To the surprise of no one. I mean, I did notice that Graham, I can't remember his last name, at Middleton, he did an open letter to the SWPL on Twitter, just basically moaning about fixture clashes and about trying to raise attendances, and then you're having all these clashes happen. And obviously Glasgow City are the only team in the league that don't have a men's side, so they're not going to have any issues with clashes that way. But every other team is constantly having issues with this. But if you want to hear a 10-minute rant on it, listen to the Rangers rabble tonight, and your dad Wilf will certainly spend most of the time talking about that and complaining about that, because it is annoying, it is frustrating. But
yeah, I mean, for something that's such a simple fix as well, like I get some of our bigger games are on the TV, but we have games that there's no reason for them to be the time that they are. Like push the game forward or back to fit the men's team. Like, it's not that much more planning to go, well, do you know what, this 4 o'clock kickoff doesn't work, let's make it 2 o'clock, or let's make it 12 o'clock. It's really not that, it's not difficult. So yes, but I won't go there because we hear enough about rants of fixture clashes without me adding to it as well. But
no, I mean, it is true though, because I believe the club aren't happy about it, which it is nice that the club is making that argument for it, because sometimes it does come across to the club just kind of say, okay, that's fine, we'll take whatever the time is. I believe with the Dundee United game that was changed at the last minute a few weeks ago from 4 o'clock to 12 o'clock, which meant a lot of people couldn't go, but they'd already started selling tickets. The club had to say yes, they didn't really have any choice, but then it coincided with the men's Old Firm game, which was just ridiculous planning. So there needs to be a better way of doing this, but that's not on us. That's the ones at the top of the SWPL that deal with the fixtures. I believe the cup games, obviously we play Motherwell in the cup, is being looked at for the time, because those times were just placeholders. So hopefully that gets sorted so that it can work a bit better, because the men are playing Hearts. It's at home at Ibrox at 5 o'clock that day, so it could be a 1 o'clock kickoff.
yeah.
Or 2 o'clock even probably be all right to get from Broadwood. No, we're away, aren't we? Oh, I don't know. I should have written this down, but it doesn't.
I know what you mean. Well, I believe the Partick Thistle game's at 1 o'clock. Like, they could just swap our games. Like, there's a time slot there. It's not even like we're trying to make one up. There's literally a time slot for the game. Just switch them around.
I mean, especially when Celtic are obviously playing that game. That's a clash as well, because I believe their men play at 3 o'clock. So you could just move the ones that don't have clashes, because I believe the Partick Thistle men's team will play on I think it's the Saturday, so it doesn't matter. So you could make it anytime. They're not on TV, so it doesn't really matter time-wise, because people are either going to go to a game or they're not. So if you make it more accessible where people are going to go, because, well, I'm in Glasgow anyway, if you don't live in Glasgow, I'll just pop along, watch a women's team and then go along. I mean, they could run a shuttle bus from one to the other if they really wanted to do something like that, but we'll see if that ever happens. If we get to that point, it'd be nice, but we spent about 10 minutes moaning about fixture clashes. We should probably get off. But tickets are on sale for the game on Saturday. It's 3 o'clock kickoff, which is quite nice. Saturday, 3 o'clock, traditional time, against Glasgow City. Come along, cheer on the girls. It'll be a good day out, hopefully. Go in, stay top of the league. See how that goes. But Demi, thank you for filling in a gap. You've been excellent.
No worries, thank you.
And hopefully next week we'll be back with a full squad. Laura will be back gallivanting from London, which we can't gripe her that too much. Alan's a bit busy with work stuff. So we'll hopefully be back with a full crowd next week, and we'll see how we go on. But anyway, thank you, Demi, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.